It's Justin Herbert, dude!
Oh my God!
The future quarterback of the Los Angeles Chargers, Justin Herbert. Welcome to the Bolts! Moving into the 2021 season with a brand new quarterback prospect, a 6'6" behemoth that can both run and pass deep, I back that 100%. He may offer us a better chance to win games.
There's something about this boy.
But who's to say that Justin Herbert wouldn't have that kind of success too? Who's to say that the surrounding cast that the Chargers have built around their quarterback isn't enough to elevate a guy like Justin Herbert to something pretty spectacular? Now, all this being said, I can tell you with confidence, Justin Herbert will start.
He's the one.
Herbert all out. Behind this man.
He is the chosen one.
Third and goal. End zone bound. Perfect pass. Touchdown, Chargers.
We will watch your career with great interest.
Kia ora, brothers, what's up? It's the director. Chargers fans, what a game on Sunday. So the Chargers lost a close one in overtime, 23-20, but for one of the very first times in my life, I'm walking away from an L feeling very optimistic. In one of the craziest games I've ever seen in my life, an unforgettable performance from our rookie quarterback Justin Herbert definitely shined. This is your Chargers versus Chiefs Week 2 post-game report. And it is Herbert time, boys and girls. Before we get started with this video, guys, hit us up with a like and sub if you do enjoy this Chargers content. The small amount of time you guys take to hit the like, sub, and bell notification helps out a lot. Let's get into this video. Now, we've already rolled the opener. Hope you guys like that opener. Hope it wasn't too much of a jab at the doubters, but at the same time, man, that's what my channel's about, planting my flag and standing by it. I'm not a professional analyst, nowhere near a pro in analyzing NFL games, but at the same time, I'm just a fan, calling it how I see it. Let's get into this roller coaster of a game, the Chargers versus the Kansas City Chiefs. It all started, this whole narrative started with an unexpected start. Tyrod Taylor is out. Justin Herbert is in. I remember my phone blowing up and being like, what? Why is Justin Herbert on the field? Well, during pre-game warm-ups, Tyrod expressed pain in his chest, and he was later taken to the hospital. I don't know exactly what happened, but I do hope it isn't anything serious. I do think he has been released from the hospital since then. This also meant that moments before the game, Herbert was notified that he was starting. This is one of the biggest trials by fire I have ever seen, not just for a rookie, but any backup quarterback. Very few reps with the first team in practice, and all of a sudden you're playing up against the defending Super Bowl champions. I was definitely nervous, man, but I don't think any of us were ready for what we were about to see. Chargers start on offense. Herbert checks down to Kelly. Herbert passes to Eckler. All of a sudden we're on 1st and goal. And then Herbert himself, oh my God, runs it in for the touchdown. And we have the lead versus the Chiefs. Like, oh my God. Okay, so before we get too deep into the Herbert hype, I do want to touch on other aspects of the game. Don't worry, guys. We'll talk plenty about Herbert. Let's talk about the defense. In my last video, we talked about how our defense is Mahomes' kryptonite, and we are. Chargers defense contained him for almost the entire game. We held him to 302 yards on 47 attempts. 47 Mahomes attempts should speak for way more yardage, in my opinion. He also scored 2 touchdowns. Now, anything north of 300 yards is definitely impressive. But again, this was Mahomes, and what really spoke to me was the score. 23 points scored in regulation, 11 of those points by Harrison Butker, the kicker. And I think it was fairly obvious that Mahomes was sweating most of that game. Oh, that felt so good, seeing his smug little face. Rushing was even less successful for Kansas City. Had it not been for the efforts of Mahomes on improvised runs, their lead back in CEH would have led the team with 38 yards on 10 carries. Now, Joey Bosa was something to behold this game. 17 QB pressures, 4 tackles, a sack, and a tackle for loss. He is making a strong push for Defensive Player of the Year. He did all of that playing through a triceps injury. Another big thing I love to see this game is that we bottled up Kelsey very well, lining up Davis and Chris Harris Jr. in coverage. At one point, I think I even saw Kenneth Murray tip a pass that was going in his direction. Bravo, Rook. I do also need to mention mention that Tillery and Linval Joseph, man, they continued to play at an elite level. Ingram did get hurt for a few drives, but he did return, and he played great as well. Now, a couple of issues that I saw on defense that may have contributed to this loss. We allowed a big play. You know, with Mahomes, it happens. We do need to adjust something at safety against speed demons. It was a good effort, but Tyreek Hill ultimately did take it in for their first touchdown. I also did notice too many penalties. I saw a lot of offsides this game from our defensive line, especially in situations that you would expect the quarterback to try and draw you offsides. We need to limit that. And probably one of the biggest things that I noticed was that we left too much space in the middle of the field for Mahomes to take off. One of his big first down conversions was on a run by Patrick Mahomes. I think it went for something like 20 yards. We need to make an adjustment here before facing quarterbacks like Cam Newton, Teddy Bridgewater, maybe even Ryan Fitzpatrick. And then, of course, Mahomes again. All in all, however, a solid defensive performance this week. We held Mahomes down. Had it not been for an impressive last-second effort by Butkus, we probably would have won this game. Now let's talk a little bit about the offense. Yes, this is what I expected to see out of the Bolts. First off, our run game, man, it's glorious. The 1-2 punch of Eckler and Kelly is something to be admired. We passed to Eckler, good things happened. We handed it off to Kelly, good things happened. Herbert saw space to run and ran it himself. We put up 183 yards on the ground with a touchdown. And against a defense like the Chiefs, that is to be commended. Let's talk a little bit about our receivers too. Keenan Allen caught 7 of his 10 targets. That is what we need. Get the ball in the hands of our playmakers. Keenan accounted for 96 yards of our offense. Henry was heavily involved as well, 6 for 83. But my favorite thing I saw this week, the checkdowns. Herbert made quick decisions when he needed to check down to guys like Eckler or Kelly. Wow, good things happen when you put it in the hands of your playmakers. I cannot say that enough. Now, quick nod to our offensive line. They definitely held their own as well. You don't put up almost 500 yards of total offense against the Kansas City Chiefs with shoddy offensive line play. So good on you to the big boys. Now, quick note before we get into the Herbert mania, I do need to talk a little bit about the coaching because I feel it's important and did contribute a little bit to this slim loss. Now, I loved the offensive play calling a lot more this week. It seems we got a lot more creative, even with Justin Herbert in moving the ball. Our defense was solid 90% of the game, but I do feel that 2 crucial calls may have cost us the win. Once again, Gus Bradley playing prevent defense in the late 4th and in overtime. Mahomes was just able to march. But probably the biggest one that I feel a lot of people would agree with me is not going for it on 4th and 1 in OT. Against the Chiefs, punting it back to Mahomes, you just don't do that. I feel like the offense was more than capable of converting that 4th down and maybe even driving down for a field goal, if not the game-winning touchdown. Now let's break down the highlight of this game. A game that sparked hope in a very successful future for our new franchise quarterback, Justin Herbert. Now some people are not yet convinced in Herbie, to which I say, lighten up. That was one of the most impressive rookie debuts I have ever seen, and it was for the Chargers' new quarterback. It's a big deal, and some people may say, oh, director, you're overreacting. Well, I might be a little bit, but at the same time, man, I don't think any of us saw this coming. And I, for one, am choosing to ride the hype. Now let's break down some of the good of Justin Herbert. His poise, my God, the poise. Herbert was rocked several times this game, but he always got back up, seemingly unfazed. This is something that's rarely seen in rookie quarterbacks. He bounced back after mistakes like they didn't even happen. His accuracy was way more impressive than I thought it would be his first match. He was leading his receivers away from defenders, allowing them to turn upfield. That's a veteran instinct. And he uses his legs. His first score in his career was a rushing touchdown. We needed this more than you know. His arm strength was also put on display, some incredible throws, including a perfect long pass to Jalen Guyton in the corner of the end zone. That was a hell of a play. He looked like Matt Stafford out there. But probably one of the biggest reasons for his accuracy that really shocked me was his touch. That was one of my biggest worries with Justin Herbert, was his lack of touch on the ball. But that pass to Guyton more than proves that he's capable of dropping it in the basket. I'll also reiterate, dudes, the check downs. I already talked about this, but this is so important to the offense of the Chargers. Get the ball in the hands of your playmakers. And Justin did that very well. We also have to remember that he played with very little prep ahead of time with the first team in practice. And yet he still threw for 311 yards, a touchdown, and a pick, and ran for 18 yards and a touchdown. One hell of a rookie debut. He also looked very level-headed against pressure for the most part. He stepped up in the pocket, displaying veteran presence in the pocket. He's definitely the best quarterback on our roster, and he keeps the ball moving. 14 passing first downs, along with 13 rushing first downs with him running the offense. You compare that to the 17 total first downs we had last week against the Bengals. That is a vast improvement. Now, I will mention a little bit about the things he needs to work on, but guys, he's a rookie. A lot of these mistakes are to be expected with rookie quarterbacks, mistakes that could honestly level off as the season goes on. But yes, Herbert did have a couple rookie mistakes this game. There was one play where his indecision to check down did lead to a 14-yard loss on a sack. He probably throws a little bit too hard and high to his receivers at times. But the biggest one that people will point out is that he had an open lane to run for a first down at one point. Instead, he sees a very slim window downfield and tries to throw it, ends up in a pick. He needs to take it one step at a time. But there is so much to work with Justin Herbert. Ultimately, even at this phase he is at right now as a rookie, he offers our offense a much better chance to win. So what should we do going forward? Start Justin Herbert, for the love of God. There are some arguments to be made about Tyrod returning next week. Don't do it. If we start Tyrod next week, he may win versus the Panthers. And this would paint a very bad picture of false security in keeping Herbert on the bench. It's time to embrace Herbert. Don't bench him. He is the future of this team and has displayed very rare talent for a rookie. The mistakes will smooth over in time. Now, this makes our rematch in week 17 with Kansas City one to watch, as Herbert will have 14 more games under his belt by that time. Well, guys, in the comment section below, let me know what you guys thought about our game versus the Kansas City Chiefs. What do you think about Justin Herbert? I've been doing a lot of Herbert videos lately, but I feel like it's appropriate that maybe we do another one this week. Because, guys, chances are we have a franchise quarterback. Well, guys, thank you so much for joining me. This has been The Director. We'll see you next time, and as always, bolt up and stay frosty.